for the love of the game. There's a reason some of the best movies in the film industry talk about the great American pastime, baseball. And now here in February 2020, baseball is back. What does that mean in our region with the Phillies AAA affiliate, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs? And what changes are coming to Major League Baseball? Mike Ventola, voice of the Iron Pigs, joins us to break down those questions and more. That's all coming up right here, right now. I'm Sam Chen, and this is Face the Issues. Good evening and welcome to Face the Issues. It's the three words that mark this season. Baseball is back. The great American pastime is back. Pitchers and catchers have reported for major league teams. College baseball is underway, and the great American pastime is about to be in full swing. But what does that mean in our viewing area? A number of AAA and AA teams call this region home. And of course, there's a number of changes coming to Major League Baseball as well. So what can you expect this season? Mike Ventola, the voice of the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, joins us to talk about that and more. Mike, welcome to Face the Issues. Thanks so much for taking the time to be here.
Sam, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Pleasure's all ours, and it's the best time of the year. Baseball is coming back in full swing, pun intended. And it's one of my favorite things to do is to catch a game. I know the same for you. You are currently serve as the manager of media relations for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. You're the announcer, the voice of the Iron Pigs. You previously did this for the AA affiliate in Reading, the Reading Fightins. Let's start, very, very broad. Before we even get into the season, what do you love so much about your job and about baseball?
I guess for me, I get a front row view to all the players and the coaches that that the Phillies are nice enough to send our way. So I've been very blessed to have gotten the opportunity to know plenty of players that have come up during my time in Reading, here in Lehigh Valley, that are now with the Philadelphia Phillies. Yes, I've been on the bus rides with Aaron Nola and Rhys Hoskins, and getting an opportunity to meet plenty of those guys, getting to know them pretty well. So I'm arguably one of their biggest fans, and that's probably what I enjoy most is the relationships that you get a chance to build, not only with the players and coaches, but with the fans as well. So getting a chance to do radio announcing and some television announcing, you get to develop a relationship with the fans. And that, to me, without the fans, I'm not sitting here talking to you right now.
Yeah, agreed. So let's talk about that. The season's coming. Pitchers and catchers have reported now for all major league teams. Before we know it, sport's going to be in full swing. What can we expect coming up this season? Let's start from the fan perspective. Every year, you guys bring something new, exciting to the experience at Coca-Cola Park with the Iron Pigs. What are we looking at this season? What's in store?
We have so much in store, it is ridiculous, because that's probably no other word to describe it. It is pure ridiculousness, just because of all the fun promotions we get a chance to put out. We just recently announced our full promotional schedule for 70 games. You're not only walking into a ballpark to watch baseball, but all the kookiness that is surrounded with it. We're doing multiple theme nights, 24 fireworks nights. We're going to have special appearances like Jim O'Hare from Parks and Rec, Dwyer Brown from Field of Dreams. Look, we're even getting some former Phillies, like Mitch Williams, and current Phillies like Larry Boa. They're going to be making appearances at our ballpark. So we're excited for all that stuff, and even some of our theme nights as well too. There'll be some days where the Iron Pigs may change their name depending on the situation, but we're also going to pay tribute as well to some specific areas in our region.
Oh, that's great. And let me ask you about the name change thing. Last year, or I think a season or two ago, brought in one of the most popular name changes where you became the Iron Pugs.
Yes.
That was not done by design, though, if I remember correctly.
No, it was not. Our president and general manager, Kurt Landis, he made a big mistake. And being the PR guy, I really had to develop a PR strategy to kind of say, look, Kurt, we got to get out in front of this. And instead of going with Iron Pigs, he meant to type the I, and the U came across. So we had to do what we had to do in order to getting pug merchandise in, and it became a big hit. Yeah. So not only just in regards for all the fun-filled merchandise, the players getting a chance to wear Iron Pugs caps, but also too, there are a lot of dog foundations that we got a chance to really develop relationships with, adoption agencies, things of that nature. So it was a lot of fun, and it was a bark in the park day too. So there were there were like hundreds of dogs walking around the concourse and having a good time.
Yeah, that was probably one of the neatest promotions, and a really, really good job strategy-wise, by the way. So congratulations on that. With all the different promotions coming through, and obviously there's a season, and baseball is one of the longest seasons in sports. What do you expect to see from the Iron Pigs? What can fans expect to see? What are you most excited about coming into the season?
I mean, I'm most excited too, I think, in regards to the talent on the field. We should be a lot better here in 2020 compared to what we were in 2019. The team finished 66-74 a season ago. They had a really good roster to begin the year. They had 5 starting pitchers that were all caliber, starting guys that could have been in the major leagues, guys that ended up getting taken up at some point. But with injuries and because of the Phillies situation, we kind of got left with just some of the bare pieces in return. So the Phillies did a very good job in signing some minor league free agents that are going to be some nice additions to this team. But I'm really excited about some of the young guns coming up from Reading. Former first-round draft picks are going to be wearing Iron Pigs uniforms this season. So spring training has to decide some of those battles, right, as you know. But from what we've seen and kind of what I've been reading about, I wouldn't be surprised if some big names are walking in uniform here throughout Coca-Cola Park.
Oh, that'd be great. Let me ask you about that. I mean, they're going to go to spring training first. You get invited to it, and there's a battle out to see who actually makes it onto the roster for opening day. What is it like? You know a lot of these players. You've seen them journey through AA, through AAA, a lot of them into the majors, and then back to AAA. Sometimes they're injured and they get to AA and they have to rehab. Other times they're cut and then brought back, and there's a back and forth. What is it like being an athlete in that AA, AAA world? What are the joys of it? What are the challenges of it?
Well, the joy is that the old adage is if you can make it to AA and be successful in AA, you can play in the major leagues.
Sure.
That's the joy of it. The hardship is that it's not always a guarantee you're going to get up there. And a lot of it, too, is not so much of talent, too. Though, yes, you got to be really good to get up there. But sometimes organizations have certain guys pegged for certain situations. I've been in situations where I've seen, former first-round draft picks that look like they're ready for the next level, but want to keep them at a certain level because they want them to enjoy a little bit of the postseason. When I was in Reading, guys like J.P. Crawford, Reese Hoskins, Dylan Cousins were hanging out in AA because the Fightin' Phils were in a playoff hunt, got to the postseason, whereas in AAA, their season ended in Labor Day in the regular season. So sometimes you see a lot of that. And because for a developmental standpoint, which is the true purpose of the minor leagues, they want these guys to get a taste of winning at a younger age. So when they get to the big leagues, they know how to win right away. And that's sometimes can be a challenge because you want to go up right away.
Right.
But you also get the other side of the joy of maybe getting a chance to win a championship at the minor league level.
Sure. The process can be difficult.
Yes.
I mean, in any sport and in life. And so I can totally understand that being part of that challenge. But so looking at a good roster is exciting. I think part of it is just being back in that ballpark and getting to breathe in the air. And what, as far as obviously the talent on the field, what should fans look forward to in the sense this year? I mean, there's going to be, you think they're going to do well, they're better than last year. And they've traditionally done fairly well. I mean, last year, a bit of an off year, but even so, not terrible. I mean, these are people within striking distance of 500 and within striking distance of the playoffs. You mentioned the promotionals a little bit earlier. Is there anything that jumps out that you say, fans really need to mark this on their calendar and come out for this promotion? Anything that we should look out for?
Well, it's funny you mention that because I have 2 hats that I brought into studio today, and what you see here is on the left is our Fosnot cap. That is not the actual official game cap, but on June 6th this season, we are going to have a celebration for our Pennsylvania Dutch. So for folks that are of PA Dutch, they are without question going to enjoy this because Fosnots will be had for people. We actually, tying in with our unveiling of the Fosnot, we actually, with our good friends at Egypt Star Bakery here in Allentown, helped come up with some Fosnots. Ferris was making Fosnots, or one of our mascots, and we're pretty excited because I love donuts. I mean, it's a big celebration. Fat Tuesday before the Lenten season. Yeah. So, but on June 6th, the Iron Pigs players will be wearing Fosnot caps, and folks can get their Fosnot merchandise. So, we're really excited about that on June 6th.
That's great.
We're a little bit more excited about this hat here, the Gold Standard. So, this gold cap you see here is in celebration for our fans, but every Friday home game in the 2020 season, Iron Pigs players will be wearing this hat, Sam, and also a gold jersey as well, too. And the reason why we went with the gold was, like I said, to celebrate our fans, but two, the organization, we were awarded the Larry McPhail Award this past offseason, which is the top promotional effort for any team in the entire country.
Oh, wow.
So in our opinion, we got that because of our fans. So how, as an organization, did we figure, how can we thank our fans? Well, why not designate a jersey and a hat for them? The gold standard being the best.
Sure.
And that's why we decided to run with it. So our
that's
players
a
will
neat
be
hat.
wearing this hat, and you can even see too here with the stars. There's 5. I stretch out the hat here a little bit more. You'll help me out a little bit.
There we go.
But
let's see it right there.
For a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
So our fans are a 5-star rating, and we're really excited about about these every Friday game, and of course the Fosnauts, because our region is so much filled with history, and the Fosnauts, of course, are a big part of it. So.
And one of the great Pennsylvania Dutch sayings: "If you ain't Dutch, you ain't much."
Exactly, and they are going to be the true judges of whether we can be Dutch or whether we ain't much. So.
Yeah. Speaking of the history, walk us through a little bit. I don't know. Everyone knows Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. I don't know that everyone's familiar with the name and where it came about. And so if you could walk us through that history a little bit.
Well, this region for a number of years was very prominent with Bethlehem Steel, and it was the largest company in the entire country in regards to, manufacturing steel, and Bethlehem Steel was so prominent, and actually locally here where the casino is, you can actually see remnants of the old steel mill and things of that nature. So pig iron is in that family of steel. So for us, back in 2008, when we became a team and thinking about names, how can we tie it into our region? We thought pig iron, Iron Pigs. So that's how the name kind of came together too. I mean, look, how many teams from an area have a song named after them? You know what I mean? Like Billy Joel's Allentown, plays homage to the folks of Bethlehem Steel.
That's correct.
And that's why we get a chance to tie it all in. And we've been playing on it for 12, now going on 13 seasons, Sam. It's been a blessing, just because not only just our fans locally here and in the region, but even fans across the country now. When they see an Iron Pig hat, they know that's the Iron Pigs.
Yeah.
It's become such a phenomenon. And minor league baseball's done a really good job in helping market not only just us, but other teams as well, because we got to kind of work together as one. So as much as there's competition trying to get the most fans in our ballpark, but that's how it kind of all came together, though.
Yeah, it's a great story because it pays homage to the rich history of this region. And I gotta say, you guys do a great job with the promotional side. I have a friend from Minnesota that I had run into at a conference and said, "Oh my goodness, you're from where the Iron Pigs are from." And you stalls, but you're from where the Billy Joel song is from. And now you're from where the Iron Pigs are from. And I said, yeah. And so we're sending him an Iron Pigs hat because he collects these minor league team hats. But everyone, to your point, everyone around the country knows about the Iron Pigs. And so that is a great credit to the work that you and your team do. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, it's been awesome for me. I tell people I've only been there a short time, but for the folks that have been there since day one that are still with the team, and our president and general manager says a good point, for the folks that have come and gone over the years, everyone's had their part. So, we take pride in being a close-knit, tight staff, because for us as a front office, if we can't work as one, our fans won't be able to buy in. So we buy into what we do. We love what we do. We challenge things sometimes.
Sure.
We come out with certain promotional concepts that could be a little edgy at times, but more times than not, fans buy in, which is great, and they appreciate it. So those are really some fun stuff that we're looking forward to having at the ballpark this season.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to it. Don't go away, Mike. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Face the Issues. Mike, thanks again for being here, for joining us, and for talking about both of our favorite pastime, watching a good baseball game. Exciting stuff coming to the Iron Pigs, exciting stuff coming to baseball all over. There's also a lot of changes, and this is not something that is new to Major League Baseball. I feel, at least for me, from where I sit, it feels like every few years, at least we're going on Twitter and shouting about potential changes. The intentional walk rule, and I think it was just a season or two ago, and all these changes that come, and there's always schools. One side says, don't change baseball. I don't want to see instant replay. I don't want to see the intentional walk rule. The other side says, no, we got to modernize the game. We got to speed it up a little bit. There are quite a few proposals Major League Baseball is making to the game for this coming season and in the future. Walk us through some of these larger ideas, why they're happening, what your thoughts are on those.
Well, Major League Baseball announced, I think just a couple of days ago, that these certain rules that are coming to effect, and the biggest one is now pitchers, especially relief pitchers, when coming in to relieve a starting pitcher, have to face a minimum of 3 batters. And the reason why Major League Baseball decided to go that route is because there's been a big push, probably going back close to the last 10 years, of how can baseball speed up the game, and how can it become more enjoyable for fans that may find baseball to be a little boring or too slow, and this is in their synopsis are feeling that it can help speed up the game. So with a 3-batter minimum is essentially, so if a starting pitcher gets pulled 4th, 5th inning, even sometimes in a mid-inning, a relief pitcher comes in, they have to face a minimum of 3 batters before the manager can go to the next relief pitcher, except if there's an injury on the mound, or if for some unforeseen circumstance if a player were to fall ill on the mound, then the manager has his right to go and call in a new relief pitcher, which is of normally any other situation. So, but why it's a big change is because it all comes down to strategy for managers.
Sure.
Sometimes they want to bring in a left-handed pitcher to face a left-handed hitter when there's 2 righties to follow, and then quickly they would go to the bullpen to get a right-handed pitcher come in. Now you're not going to be able to do that as quick as you'd like to. So left-handers are going to have to do more than just get lefties out. Righties are going to have to do more than just getting right-handed hitters out. So it is going to be an interesting dynamic starting this season to see how relief pitchers are going to go up against, hitters of both sides, especially for lefties. It's tough for lefties facing righties just because of the delivery from a left-handed pitcher, and lefties are so they're special because they're not as many as there are right-handed pitchers. Left-handed specialists are probably going to be out of a job, which is very unfortunate. So unless they figure out how to get right-handed hitters out consistently,
or it could be Pat Ventola.
Yeah, exactly.
Pitch with both hands.
Right, exactly. Which is still, and he was a former Iron Pig. He was an Iron Pig at one time. So his glove was the most interesting thing because you literally can, as if you put your hands like this and
6 fingers,
and it was insane. And he would have to declare on the mound before the hitter would have to, because the first time it happened, it was kept stepping back and forth where the umpire said, no, one of you's got to declare. They decided that Pat has to declare first before the hitter does.
My goodness. And that's such a rare talent, a switch pitcher, not seeing the game for about a century until Pat Ventola showed up. This idea of speeding up the game, this is not new to Major League Baseball, right? I mean, so the intentional walk rule was toward this end, and now this idea with the pitching change. You're an announcer, you're there for the entire game. What is your thought on this? I mean, because there is a bit of a conflicting view to this, which is, well, you want to speed the game up, and then you introduce instant replay. And so where does this, how do you see this going? Do you think these rules stay? What do you think the reaction is going to be? And should Major League Baseball be making these changes?
I think this rule is here to stay, and large in part because I think for Major League Baseball, they have been kind of talking about this for some time, and there's going to be more changes that come. Eventually, within the next year or two, the designated hitter is going to make its way in the National League.
Oh, wow.
It's happening. It's just a matter of whether it's going to be in 2021 or 2022. Wow. So for folks who enjoy pitchers hitting, enjoy it now while it lasts, because it's going to go away. Baseball is trying so hard in trying to speed up the game and trying to make it more entertaining for fans. Look, I'm going to being straight with you, Sam. I'm all for baseball trying to make things enjoyable for fans, trying to incorporate younger fans. I just don't know if this is the correct way, because my biggest thing is, you know what, this younger generation is so much on their phones and so much with the social media apps, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. Whereas baseball has an outstanding platform. They have 30 outstanding major league teams that have phenomenal marketing and social media teams. How to me is you're going to get more fan interest is not so much changing the X's and O's within the diamond. If I were in Major League Baseball, I would be submitting to these teams. Get your social media teams to get these players to be more personable in a sense of having them on platforms doing fun stuff, whether it's just doing interviews or fun videos. And teams have made great strides in that. I think that's an effort they need to continue to go down. That's why minor league baseball is so fun for fans, why the game is a little secondary for minor league baseball fans, because it's all the other fun stuff that goes into it. And that's why I think Major League Baseball, I mean, they're starting to, but I think they need to really dig down that route. So, but for this 3 batter minimum, I mean, I'm not a fan of it. I kind of like more of the strategy. This is going to be, a little bit tougher for pitchers, which, let's see what they're made of at this point. Hitters may get the advantage now, especially if there's a guy that would normally be brought in to face one reliever, one hitter. So it's going to be a trial and error, I think, this first year, but I think it's here to stay. And the minor leagues are going to get affected by it as well, too. So,
Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting how, our manager here, once he gets rocking and rolling first week of April with teams, and when he brings someone in, they got to face at least a minimum of 3 batters.
And I think you're right. The social media engagement side can really change the engagement to the game itself. And I think you see certain teams doing this. The Cleveland Indians run a fabulous Twitter feed. And even the players that people gravitate toward are people like Kutch, Andrew McCutcheon, or Francisco Lindor over in Cleveland, are people that really have that presence, and the fans are able to connect with them. And so I definitely think you're onto something with that notion of attracting new and more fans into the game of baseball, as opposed to tinkering with the X's and O's on the field. Right.
And I think, for most fans, they want to feel a connection. They want to have a relationship with these guys. And, for them, if they're, especially for young kids, if they're on their iPhones, they're watching all these videos, and if they're seeing Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins doing something fun together, I think that could be a way to incorporate more young fans into it, because, sadly, a lot of the young people are in their phones a lot more than going out and about doing things. So that's why I think baseball, they're doing okay in regards to endearing themselves towards that. I feel like they need to continue to go down that route, because you look at the NBA, you look at the NFL, they do a really good job in how they give that fan access a little bit more. Baseball's, like I said, they're working on it. And selfishly, the Phillies, and I know I worked for their minor league affiliate. The Phillies, if you check out the Phillies social media feed, phenomenal. I mean, they do it right. And I would like to see more teams embody what the Phillies social media team does. And I personally know those folks, but they are really good at what they do.
That's great. Thank you, Mike. Hey, don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Face the Issues. Mike, thanks again for being here for this great conversation. I got to ask you, it's been in the news. Obviously, the biggest thing that's rocked baseball this season is not even the new rule changes, but the scandal currently involving the Houston Astros. And so talk to us a little bit about that, and what's your reaction to that as both someone that works in the game and also as a fan of the game?
It was extremely disappointing to hear what happened with the whole Houston Astros and in their pursuit of the World Series in 2017, even 2018, and even a little bit, during their playoff run last year. And I think what's probably the most disturbing thing about the entire operation is that, you look at the roster the Astros had, they didn't need to do the sign stealing that they did. They have an MVP. They have multiple All-Stars. They had pitchers you had 3 bona fide aces at one point in the Astros starting rotation. And, for them to have to go to, doing sign stealing and whether it's banging on trash cans and, to me, taking it to that level was extremely unnecessary. Look, I'm going to tell you this right now. Sign stealing happens. If, pitchers are being tipped, hitters are going to do what, they're going to see it, they're going to notice it. But to do some of the voluntary things that the Houston Astros did, which was totally inexcusable. And, for Major League Baseball to come down with the punishment they did, I mean, obviously the general manager and the manager of the Astros are no longer employed. And then, you look at Carlos Beltran, who he and Alex Cora were big in regards to spearheading this. Both lost their jobs in Boston and New York as managers, and for the players, they kind of got an opportunity to get out in front of it because they had to obviously let baseball know what was going on. But, for the Astros, they certainly have some work cut out. They have their work cut out for them just because, from ownership down, I want to believe that they're sorry for what they did,
Sure.
but evidence of some things we saw in the public recently, they feel like they're still talented enough to get the job done. Let's see what happens on the field this season.
What happens. Let's transition from the disappointment of baseball to some of the great things that you guys do. I know the Iron Pigs support a lot of charities. Talk to us a little bit about the charity work that you guys do right here at Coca-Cola Park.
Oh yeah, we're pretty excited because our Iron Pigs Charities does a really cool job in regards to, branching out to multiple groups here throughout the community. We're currently right now too working with a lot of coaches here in the Lehigh Valley, a lot of high school coaches in regards to having other coaches coming in and offering like coaching techniques and trying to really promote youth sports here in this area. The Phillies recently had their caravan come up. Sam, we issued over $50,000 worth of grants out to multiple organizations. That's our job. What can we give back to the community?
Oh, that's great. We love that you guys do that. It is a platform. It is always bigger than the game itself, bigger than any individual player. Mike, appreciate the role that you play in all of that, and thanks for joining us, and let's do this again soon.
It would be my pleasure, Sam. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. That is all the time that we have tonight. My thanks to Mike Ventola for joining us and breaking down these questions. Join him soon at the game at Coca-Cola Park. And my name is Sam Chen. On behalf of all of us here at Face the Issues, thank you and good night.